Mr. Punch! In the Covent on this very spot 352 years ago! That's as old as I am! Mr. Samuel Pepys witnessed his first Punch and Judy show! And from that day on, we have always celebrated his birthday!
So the Mayfair's been cancelled then? The what? The Mayfair. The what? The Mayfair. The what? Read my lips. The Mayfair. What's that then? Well, it's a festival, right, for entertainers like musicians and dancers and puppeteers. Don't like puppeteers. Yeah. Well, all the puppeteers are sad. Of course they're sad. They're puppeteers. No, they miss it. What? The Mayfair? They miss it. Why? Well, take a look at this.
Mayfair is an important time of the year for puppeteers from all over the world. We manage to get together, socialise, share our love for puppetry and watch some amazing puppet shows too. It's also important for the public. Helps to keep the love and the interest of puppetry alive for them also. Memories of the Mayfair? Well, there's loads. I've burnt my head a few times with the sun. I've got rained on a few times. But I've met loads of wonderful friends because of the Mayfair. I've seen some amazing puppetry and it got me on the road to being a puppeteer.
Now look you, I've just spent 2 hours queuing outside Sainsbury's for these. Look after them.
Heidi hi Mayfair goers, it's that time of year again, but unfortunately we won't be driving through the streets of London at 5 o'clock in the morning to bring you our wonderful Punch and Judy shows. I've been asked to think of a few memories. The greatest memory for me of the Mayfair, which is continuous to this day, are my friends and colleagues. I've made friends and mainly even become family through the years to me, which has been amazing. And this event has cemented those friendships and people becoming my family over the course of years. It became evident to me when I was a young man, there was a certain group of people at the Mayfair that pushed me, put me forward, invited me to festivals and included me in things, which was a fantastic thing. And today I try to put some of that forward to some of my friends who have come up behind me and encourage them to do great Punch and Judy shows, to be presentable, and the Mayfair is a place where you can show this off to other people and to present yourself in a professional manner and entertain people as well. This is the great thing about the Mayfair. It's also a showcase for other people coming up so you can see what's around, maybe even find out a few new ideas for your show, a few new jokes. So that to me is the most amazing thing the Mayfair has done and my greatest memory. I suppose the other memory is as a collector was there was always something for sale at the Mayfair that I might be interested in. Some old puppets, some Fred Tickner puppets, Brian Clark's fantastic stalls he used to have and all the puppets laid out. Ray Elgar, my first walk-in set was bought from Ray Elgar at the Mayfair. I also remember having, let's say, a spat with a certain Mr. Felix over who was going to get a certain set of Fred Tickner figures off Bob Wade. Jeff won, by the way. And all things like this, to me as a collector, there was always something I would want to buy at the Mayfair. So this is the other great memory I have of that day. The only other one I think that sticks out is when it was raining one year and I think I got pneumonia afterwards and was in bed for a week, which was the only other time that the Mayfair sticks in my mind. But apart from that, all good. And I can't wait till next year.
Hello, my name's Samuel Pepys, and I'm very, very, very annoyed that there isn't going to be a Covent Garden Mayfair this year, because it's my one chance in the year to be in the Punch and Judy show. I get to go to Covent Garden and show off to all the people, telling them about the history of the Punch and Judy show. Hello. My name's Richard Coombs, and I'm a Punch and Judy man from the Midlands. And if you ask me what's special about the Covent Garden Mayfair, one thing for sure is its longevity. This would have been its 45th consecutive year as a festival. Not bad going. Now, when you go to Covent Garden and you look outside the church, you'll see there's a plaque on the front of St Paul's Church. It was put there in 1962 by the Society for Theatre Research and the British Puppet and Model Theatre Guild. That was to mark what was then the 300th year of Mr Punch in England. Obviously, we're well past that milestone now. But there are a couple of things you might not know about the Mayfair. One is that it isn't run by the British Model and Puppet Theatre Guild. It's not even run by any of the 3 Punch and Judy societies that are in England at the moment. The Punch and Judy Club, the Punch and Judy Fellowship, or the College of Professors. It's actually run by an events company called Alternative Arts, a very large part of which is Maggie Pinhorn. It's down to Maggie's joy and tenacity that we have a festival after all these years. The other thing that might surprise you is that the Mayfair isn't actually specifically a Punch and Judy festival. Just don't tell Mr Punch. It's a puppet festival for all forms of puppetry, and amongst the crowds you will see marionettes, other glove puppets, rod puppets, puppets from around the world. But the vast majority of puppets and shows there are Punch and Judy. Easily 90% of what's in St Paul's Covent Garden in May is Punch and Judy shows. In fact, it's the best place to see a large gathering of Punch and Judy shows all in one place. There's nowhere else like it in the entire world. And in England, you'll never see that many shows in one place. It's a great chance to come and get your fill of Punch and Judy. So even though we can't perform this year, do come and join us from 2021 onwards, when you can see as much Punch and Judy as you like on Mr Punch's birthday, second Sunday in May at Covent Garden. So, from Punch in the Midlands and Punch at Covent Garden, that's the way to do it, and we'll see you next year.
Hi, it's me, Dodge the Dog from CBeebies, and I am here to answer this very important question. Why is the Mayfair an important day for puppeteers? Well, I know lots of puppeteers, so I can tell you why it's an important day. Because they get together! There's so many puppeteers in one place. You see, usually you'd only find one puppeteer, maybe 2 if you're lucky, but at the Mayfair there are hundreds of them. Everywhere you look, there are hundreds of them. And most of them have puppets on too.
Hi, I'm Dave Halier and I'm a puppeteer and a puppet builder, and I first went to the Mayfair in 2007 because I wanted to meet other performers and other puppeteers to get to know them, to find out if I could pick up any hints and tips to make me a better builder and performer.
Well, coming from a Punch and Judy background, my grandfather was a Punch and Judy man, used to perform at Blackpool Tower with the great George Warman, also a Punch and Judy man. My father, he then passed on to my father, who's a Punch and Judy man, still is. My mother, Punch and Judy lady, which she still is as well. In 1991, I was entered by my mother into the Young Professors competition that they used to run at the Covent Garden Mayfair. So I was packed up like Paddington Bear on my booth, strapped to the top of my uncle's car, a basket full of puppets, which were a mixture between a Walk-End parlour set and some other puppets we found in the shop down at Eastbourne. We arrived there early, set up the booth on one of the islands, and I just thought, wow, this is absolutely amazing. You know, all these different booths and shows going on and all these skills of puppetry across the board. I remember doing my show, which the judges were actually Jeff, Felix and Brian Clark. And I remember dropping the baby off the front of the playboard. Halfway through, I don't think I could find the policeman. I think I spat the swazzle out 2 or 3 times, possibly. Not a lot's changed in my show, to be honest. But despite of all that, I managed to come second. No idea how, but I managed it. First was David Wilde, which actually was the first time I met David Wilde. And I remember being on the steps of the St Paul's in Covent Garden, being presented a slapstick which Brian had made. Still got it now, with second prize on it. After that, I went back to the Mayfair in 1993, which was Young Professors again, and 1995, and the last time I went to the Mayfair, which was 1997. it wouldn't be until 2013 when my mother had asked me to take a walk-in Judy to be restored by Brian Clark, redressed, repainted. And I decided to, she gave it to me, so I decided to walk up from where I lived in Victoria to Covent Garden, knowing that the Mayfair was going on, knew Brian was going to be there. So I gave him the Judy, had a nice chat with him. It was there, I bumped into David, which I hadn't seen for years and years and years. We then swapped numbers and we become friends. He then said in 2014, are you going to come back to the Mayfair and perform? So I decided, yes, I will perform. So from 2014 to the present day, I've been to the Mayfair every year and performed there. Wonderful memories, going back to 1991. I remember Joe Beebe there. I can remember Hugh Cecil. I can even remember Percy Press 2 walking around the front steps of St Paul's, spitting on everybody with his walk around booth. Great characters, but it is a wonderful day. It is a day that people with their puppetry, Punch and Judy shows can really express themselves in the art of puppetry.
My name is Damien Weiss and I'm a French Punch and Judy performer. In France, our national puppet is Guignol, and I came with him in Covent Garden when I discovered the Mayfair Puppet Festival for the first time in 2014. It was a wonderful day. So many puppeteers, different shows, I never seen it before. So much joy. That day, I met for the first time great puppeteers, all Punch and Judy professors. Geoff Felix, Richard Coombs, David Wilde, Brian Clark. They still encourage me and offer a lot of advice. But above all, I met the most wonderful character I have ever met, Mr. Punch.
Hello, it's me, Samuel Pepys. Did you know it's because of me writing in my diary that Mr. Punch has his birthday? May the 9th, 1662. Yes, it's all because of me, you see. If I hadn't have gone to Covent Garden on that day, seen a Punch in Yellow show, written it down, you wouldn't know that Mr. Punch... Ah!
Hi, I'm Daniel and I've been visiting the Mayfair for over 10 years now. Now, the Mayfair is not just about puppetry. It's also about friendship, celebration and history. It's also a chance to see so many superb shows that have travelled from all over the country to showcase puppetry and especially Punch and Judy. But for many of us performers, this might be the only chance we get to see so many friends and colleagues in one place. And it's a great day to share ideas, memories and have a laugh. Now, last year we celebrated Brian Clark's 80th birthday, and it was a wonderful moment when so many performers joined Brian on the steps of the church, each with a puppet he had lovingly made. Now, looking back at photographs over the years, it's a great reminder of some of the celebrations we've had, including Mr. Punch's 350th birthday and the formation of the Punch and Judy Club. But the Mayfair would not be possible if not for Maggie Pinhorn and Alternative Arts. Maggie and her team work so hard every single year to organise the day, and we thank her from the bottom of our hearts.
Hey, beautiful people. Why is the Mayfair important to puppeteers? Well, to be honest, I think it's great that they have a special place to go, because puppeteers are kind of a special kind of people. Yeah, it's nice that there's a big place for all those weirdos to get together and have fun, yeah.
Hello, I'm just walking through Gladstone Park, musing about the Mayfair and what it means to puppeteers in general in the UK. I'm just on my way up to Gladstone House, which perhaps unsurprisingly has a historical link to Punch and Judy, but more on that later. Really, for me, the Mayfair is the longest running of festival of puppetry in the UK. Other puppetry festivals pop up in London or elsewhere. They go for a few years and then the funding runs out and they stop, and another one pops up somewhere else. And throughout it all, the Mayfair's always kept going, and I think for that reason it's one of the really important events in the calendar of puppeteers. Every year you'll see different puppeteers there from theatre and TV and film, and it's really sort of one of our biggest get-togethers of the year, where you can guarantee you'll bump into somebody that you haven't seen for a while. So we'll very much miss seeing everyone in person there this year. Thanks so much to Maggie and everyone for keeping the festival going. Yes, we'll see everyone there in 2021. Thank you then. Bye.
The thing that always stands out to me about the Mayfair is just the concentration of creativity all in one place. I'm sure on any other day of the week or year, the back garden at St Paul's would look quite big, but at the Mayfair it always seems tiny because there's so many people who've gathered together. There's people that are performing, there are people who are builders who supply the performers, there are people running craft stands and tea stands and doing different types of puppetry and entertainment all around the place. It's a real hive of activity, and I love the burst of colour and creativity that's just all around it. I just find it an inspiring place to be.
Oh, get out of it.
The what? The Mayfair. Look, it's on now. Oh, right, hello. Do you want to tell them why we think the Mayfair's important? Yeah, I think it's really important because we get to celebrate the wonderful Punch and Judy. It's also a great opportunity for the public to see Punch and Judy shows. The best in the world. Yeah, the best in the world. Many of whom won't have seen it before. But personally, as a ventriloquist, you know what? As a ventriloquist, that's a lovely hobby. We also have some other reasons why the Mayfair is important to us, because we get to see our friends in the puppet world, many of whom I don't get to see all year, so it's a really lovely opportunity to socialise as well and catch up. And we've got some good memories as well. Oh yeah, remember that first year I came with you and we spent a lot of time with Len Belmont, yeah, the legendary ventriloquist Len Belmont, who regaled us with stories and also blew us away with his distant telephone voice. But my most special memory, I'd say, would be walking through the gates on the first year and just seeing it all. I couldn't see, I was in a suitcase. Yeah, you were. But the array of colour, all the puppets and the wonderfully eccentric characters too, I'll never forget that at all.
So, after the first Mayfair, I was so inspired that I decided to make myself a Mr. Punch puppet. As you can see, I am a puppet maker. With the support of the professors, mainly Geoff Felix, and some precious books, I was able to deepen my knowledge of English puppetry.
Ha-ha! It's me, Samuel Pepys, again. I'm here to let you know a very important historical fact. The puppet show I saw in Covent Garden in 1662 was, in fact, a marionette show. Ha-ha! Controversial, huh? But the main star was, in fact, Mr. Punch, or Punchinello as he was then known. The show came over from Italy, and the show I saw had marionettes and Mr. Punch...
Hiya, Roman here. The Mayfair Mr. Punch's festival is sheer magic, and having the joy of, for the first time, going into the church and watching the Mass, partaking in the Mass, is amazing, is magical, is a wonderful tradition that our culture has. And I even had an Australian friend with me. She's a producer, but she also ran her own puppet company, and she'd never been to the Mayfair. And she was beside herself with joy, as was I, and sitting in church and just watching the parade of puppets, Mr. Punch and all the other puppets, and their presentation and their blessing is such a gorgeous tradition. And where Samuel Pepys saw the original, it is so good that we have this. I'm so proud to belong to this fraternity as well.
I was 12 when I first performed at the Mayfair. I don't think my sound system worked. I don't think the show was very good. But that day I met my mentor, Mark Poulton. I remember watching his show as the sun was beginning to set through the cherry blossom in the garden of St Paul's in Covent Garden. It's a memory I'll treasure forever. After meeting Mark, I was inspired to become a Punch and Judy man as my job. And I'm very lucky now to be the Punch and Judy man on Swanage Beach, and I will be for another 5 years at least. But had I not been to the Mayfair, had I not met Mark, I don't think I'd be doing this now. So my big thanks to everyone at the Mayfair who inspires the next generation of performers. And also, we have to thank Maggie and everyone at Alternative Arts. 45 years this event has been going, and it's free. Well, we asked for a couple of quid, but it's mostly free. Thank you so much to everyone involved, and we'll see you all again next year.
It's the way to do it. Hi, this is Professor Mark Poulton, Punch and Judy man on Weymouth Beach. I'm here at Winter Base at the moment in Painston, Devon. It's a shame the Mayfair's not on the show. That Mr. Punch up there, that's the one that inspired me as a child when I first saw Punch and Judy. And then we went up to Covent Garden when I was about 14, 15. My mum, dad, sister and myself went up on the train from Gloucestershire. And it was amazing arriving in Covent Garden and seeing all these different Punch and Judys. Some good, some bad. And meeting people for the first time like Jeff Felix, Brian Clark, other performers similar sort of age, David Wilde, etc. And we had a really good time that first year I was there. Bill Dane and myself had our Mr. Punches talking to each other, and as we looked around there was this big audience around us, so we just proceeded to entertain them. So that was a really good sort of first Mayfair. Also the most promising young Punch and Judy man award when I won that in about 88 I think that was. I'm showing my age and I'm very, very old. That was a highlight as well. Long may the Mayfair continue, obviously not this year, but long may it continue, and I'll see you on the beach at Weymouth or at the Mayfair in future years. Alright, stay safe everyone, and happy Christmas.
Hi there Maggie, Amy and everybody on the Mayfair committee. Professor Crumb here. Not as you can see on my stilts, but I'm doing a spot of gardening and a spot of the old juggling during lockdown. It's such a shame that we're not going to be all together for this year's Mayfair and Puppet Festival, but I'd just like to say thank you for everything that you do to make it such a special event. I know all the hard work that goes into it. Anyway, I'm going to really miss that parade, and hopefully by the time we progress to next year's show that my juggling skills will be a little bit better and my garden will be absolutely weed free, and possibly my onions even bigger.
Since 2015, I have participated in the festival by doing a show. I was able to do this thanks to the logistical work of Alternative Arts. I want to say my personal thanks to Maggie and Amy. Thank you, this festival is so wonderful. It's carried on for 44 years, nothing has stopped it until now, this global epidemic crisis.
And here we are at the ruins of Dollis Hill House in Gladstone Park, where William Gladstone used to live. And of course, you could say that the link with this place is that William Gladstone was regularly depicted in Punch magazine, as were many of the politicians of his day. In fact, at one time I think he was depicted as Punch with Benjamin Disraeli as Judy. But that wasn't the link that I was thinking of. Dollis Hill House was also the sometime summer residence of Mark Twain. And in 1881, Mark Twain published The Prince and the Pauper. And in The Prince and the Pauper there is a reference to Punch and Judy. But The Prince and the Pauper was set in 1537. 125 years before the first reference to Punch and Judy by Samuel Pepys in 1662. Now, some people think that Mark Twain just made a historical mistake. Maybe Mark Twain unearthed some previously unknown evidence that dates Punch and Judy back as far as 1537. Unlikely. But what I like to think is that at the time that Mark Twain was writing, the depiction of London, without including Punch and Judy, would have felt like something was missing. Now, of course, this year we are all missing something in Covent Garden. We'll be missing seeing one another there. But hopefully we'll see everyone online. Punch and Judy was nothing if not adaptive to the times. And hopefully we look forward to seeing everyone in person again in 2021. Take care for now, everyone. Bye-bye.
I first attended the Mayfair in 2003, travelling down by train from Liverpool with my booth and puppets stowed in the guards van. And I can still remember the sense of magic and joy early on that Sunday morning as the garden filled with puppets and booths and theatres. And there still is that sense of magic and joy every year as the garden fills with colour, that moment when it's just the performers before the audience and the public arrive. It really is magical. Maggie, Amy, everyone who's involved in organising the Mayfair, thank you so much for all your work over the years. The Mayfair is the perfect day with your friends, and we all know how valuable those are at the moment. Thank you so much for all your work, and we can't wait to see you next year.
Hello, Samuel Pepys here. I just want to let you know...
Hey everybody, Austin Phillips here, and the Mayfair is important to me because it's the one time a year that everybody gets together and gets to chat all day long about this stuff. And one of my most fond memories of the Mayfair was probably seeing that person there in the giant seagull costume.
Hi. So it's a funny time at the moment. We're all being forced to stay at home, and luckily there's some of us that have a passion. Mine is puppets. And at this time every year, there's a festival in London where a lot of my colleagues and my peers come together, which is the Mayfair Puppet Festival. It's also a really good introduction to people who are interested in puppetry, whether it's Punch and Judy or whether it's conventional hand and rod style puppets like this. And it's just a really good sort of community environment where people meet up and they swap stories and they swap techniques and they get to enjoy some fantastic shows. My very good friend and my mentor, Richard Coombs, puts on one of my favourite shows. It's topical, it's funny, and it's traditional all at the same time. So yeah, that's one of the things I'm going to be missing this year. Hopefully, we'll all be back very soon to enjoy it next year. But yeah, please keep the festival in mind, and yeah, we'll see you again very soon.
The first time I performed a show at Covent Garden, I think I was 14 or 15. So it probably wasn't the best show in the world, but I really enjoyed doing it, and it was lovely to have such a nice big London audience. It was good fun. It was also my first year of actually going to the Mayfair, and I was astounded to see that many shows in one place. I'd only seen the Punch and Judy at Herne Bay where we lived when I was a child. That was Colin Bennett used to do that show, Uncle Colin, or Peter Butchard at Broadstairs, which is where my grandparents lived. So I'd only ever seen those two shows, and obviously never in the same place at the same time. And then you arrive at Covent Garden and there are so many shows all set up in one place. It's quite mind-blowing. That's the real thing that really knocks people's socks off when they go the first time, is the sheer number of shows in one place. Some good, some bad, some different, all worth a look. They've all got good things about them. The standout for me that very first year was Major Mustard's show. Mike was out front in his Major Mustard outfit with his drum and doing the music, and Kaz Frost was inside operating the puppets, and it was the first, and actually till now I think the only time I've seen a show performed with what they call a bottler out the front of the show, a partner actually, not a bottler, doing all the drumming and talking back to the puppets. It was an interactive show. The guy at the front was talking to the audience and also talking to the puppets and being a go-between. Shows are very seldom done like that. Most Punch and Judy shows are a one-man band. So that chance of seeing this wonderful double act, or triple act really, the audience, the partner and the puppets all happening at once, was absolutely astounding. So there's always something to see at the Mayfair that will take your breath away. People tend to bring their A game and something special. You probably won't be seeing people's normal shows. They're all doing something a bit special for the Mayfair. I like to take something special if I can. This year we would have taken this little chap along, but it's not happening. Here's my Captain Tom on his walk, but he'll be in the shows later in the year. Hopefully we'll get performing again, either before the end of the summer or into the autumn. Let's hope so. And come and see Punch and Judy when it starts up again later in the year, and come and see the Mayfair next year. All right, Major Tom, Captain Tom, just promoted you. All right, Captain Tom, you'll never walk alone. Bye.
That's the way to do it.
One of the things that's important for me as someone who grew up with puppets in the house is being able to go to things like the Mayfair and being able to bring my kids with me so that they can see some good performers and get inspired to perform too. What do you reckon?
Yeah, that sounds very good.
That's my little boy down there. Hey!
Hello everyone, it's Ronnie Ledrew, puppeteer and president of the British Puppet and Model Theatre Guild. I'm here along with my friend... Oh, Dodo. Hello, Dodo. Say hello. Oh, hello, everybody. Oh, dear, I'm all beak today. Oh, now, I've had a question. Why is the Mayfair important for puppeteers? Well, the Mayfair is important to puppeteers because, well, for me anyway, it's about meeting all the different Punch and Judy professors and my friends and all the new acquaintances I meet there too. It's just very exciting. And of course, we're celebrating Punch's birthday. Yeah. Oh, yes, I remember. Yeah, thanks, Dodo. Oh, I've got another question. What are my fondest memories of the Mayfair? Well, basically, it's my fondest memories of, well, first of all, a wonderful day because we have nearly all the British Punch and Judy professors plus some from abroad, and also the crowds of people that come and enjoy the show. It's just fabulous to see so many people, and of course the guild always has a stand there and so many other people. I mean, there's just puppeteers from all over the world, and especially for me that's the most exciting thing, to share memories and to say hello to all my puppet friends. So we say goodbye now, Dodo. Oh, goodbye. I haven't said a lot. No, you haven't. I've said most of it. Anyway, goodbye, everybody.
Hello, Hack of a Dog here. I just had to take a couple of seconds now to say thank you for all your lovely work you do organising the Covent Garden, Mayfair and Punch and Judy Puppet Festival thing. It's very nice of you to arrange a day where all those weird puppet people can interact with other weird puppet people. It gets them out of the house, cocker, when no doubt they spend the rest of the time on their own, alone, in their homes, talking to little doll things. It's weird. They're a weird bunch, cocker, but thank you. It's basically caring the community, giving those weird people a chance to get out into the fresh air and speak to like-minded losers like themselves. Thank you for all you do. I'm joking, of course, cocker. Count me in. Next time it's rearranged, I'll be there, because I'm a loser, like the rest of you. I'm on my own filming this now, would you believe? In a garage on a mobile phone. What's the point? Oh, what's the point? And I've got to stop it myself because I'm on my own, as I said, so I can't even just do a cutaway there. Hopefully they'll fix that in the edit. Otherwise, it'll be this as I walk over to press the off button on my own.
But this year, the Mayfair Puppet Festival has been cancelled, which also means that I will not be able to see the London audience, and I miss this audience. Also, I give you an appointment for next year, Mayfair 2021 for all and all for one.
Well, my memories of the Mayfair are a show given by Joe Beebe, who was conjuring something he'd seen in 1926. Because on that spot in the churchyard in 1978, he was passing on the flame. I remember the strange bits of theatre, like Richard Robinson with his Ogle Ogle box, which was puppets doing political satire, and Lady Christabel, completely pissed with her faithful retainer Scrotum, and Andy Cunningham with Magritte the mind-reading rat. I remember the stalls where you could buy puppets, food, toy theatres, but mostly puppets, and Brian and Dorothy who made them. And before them, Bob and Jean Wade, and before then, the great Fred Tickner. I remember Maggie Pinhorn, who is much cleverer than anyone thinks. I don't really think people realise how much work she does. If you wonder whatever happened to hippies, they grew up and organised the Mayfair. If you ever wonder why buskers perform in Covent Garden, it was Maggie who started it, so you can blame her. Because she used theatre to stop what was going to happen to the market. They were going to bulldoze it and turn it into offices. Now it's a destination because she was using theatre as a political weapon. So I would say that the Mayfair is important because laughter makes people happy. That churchyard is a crucible where theatrical magic is made. You go away thinking, what the hell was that? It's a destination. People will look back and ask, were you there? It's a rite of passage. You don't get paid. Not to the Mayfair. It's free, not exclusive. And that's really important because at the Mayfair, your memory is nudged by the ghosts of the past.
Of course, as well as thanking Alternative Arts and the lovely Maggie Pinhorn, there's one other person that I'm sure I'm not alone in wanting to thank for making the Mayfair very memorable every year. And that is the lovely Richard Robinson, who produces the artwork for these absolutely amazing posters. They're very collectible, very evocative of every year, and I'm sure I'm not the only one that's got them framed and hanging up around their house. They're absolutely gorgeous. Thank you, Richard.
Oh, hello. I'm just watching some memories online of the Covent Garden Mayfair Puppet Festival. I go every year and I've had a wonderful time, and it's a big thank you to the nice lady at Alternative Arts. Oh well, back to the memories. See y'all next year. Bye.
Hello, my name is Chris Somerville and I'm here in the Harlequin Puppet Theatre in North Wales. And if it wasn't for this wretched virus, I would be in St Paul's Churchyard in Covent Garden celebrating Mr Punch's birthday along with my friends. For many, many years, the Mayfair has been an essential date in my diary, as it is for so many puppet and punch enthusiasts. In years gone by, from the late 1940s through the 50s, there used to be a week-long puppet festival in London, the annual exhibition of the British Puppet Guild. And this drew puppeteers from all over Britain and had the public queuing in the streets. Now, the Mayfair is the one event which, without fail, draws puppet enthusiasts to London from far and wide. It celebrates our national puppet, and that is important. And the continuity is important. And that's why I'm so delighted that although the event itself has sadly had to be cancelled, at least we're keeping the thing going with this little celebration online. One who remembers the Puppet Guild exhibitions is Brian Clark, prolific punch craftsman and brilliant punch performer. He's nearly as old as me. One of my earliest Mayfair memories involves Brian. It also involves the Guild exhibitions and my late partner Eric Bramhall. Eric never missed a Guild exhibition. Now, his forte was marionette manipulation, and along with other string puppeteers, they would entertain the crowds queuing outside Victory House. One of Eric's puppets was a little Pinocchio-like character. Now, what made me choose this puppet one year to put in my bag and take to the Mayfair, I don't know, but I did. Brian, who didn't know me at the time, but remembered Eric, began to regale me with reminiscences about Eric Bramhall and in the days of the Guild exhibitions. I remember he used to have a little boy puppet, he said, who sat on his shoe and waved his arms in time to the music. Now, Brian was more than a little surprised when I unzipped the bag and hauled out the very puppet. Do you mean this one? Yes, how's that for a punchline, Mr. Punch? Professor James Arnott asked me what, in my opinion, was the value of the Mayfair. Well, apart from having fun and sharing ideas and promoting Punch and Judy, I think the Mayfair is also a peculiarly English sort of event, with its march around Covent Garden with a superb band, dozens of people waving puppets in the air, pearly kings and queens, and clowns and stilt walkers and jugglers, and then a church service, often with Mr. Punch in the pulpit. Then there's proper maypole dancing and stalls and puppets performing and puppets to buy. Of course, there are Punch and Judy shows, dozens of them, showing all day long amidst delighted screaming kids. It's a day out to enthrall children. And we can all be children at the Mayfair. Thank you, Maggie Pinhorn and Alternative Arts. Thanks to the Punch and Judy Club, the PGF, and to the British Puppet and Model Theatre Guild. Oh, and perhaps a little prayer in memory of Samuel Pepys. Happy birthday, Mr. Punch. Happy birthday.
Evening all. Hello, hello, hello. You are about to watch a clip of Professor Tony Clark, in which he will profess that due to the coronavirus, he has suffered no ill effects to his financial income. I would just like to point out that me and the rest of the flying squad and the bailiffs had to go into his house and personally remove all the paintings, all the curtains and all the furniture. So don't believe a word he's saying. Thank you very much.
My first real solid memory of performing in Covent Garden at the Mayfair was either in 1978 or 1979 with a small parlour set of Kent Punch and Judy puppets, and I actually performed my show for Percy Press Senior to find out what he thought of it. And I can remember he thought it was pretty good. I didn't actually swazzle at that time, I don't think. In fact, I'm pretty sure I didn't. So it would have been fairly ropey. But I can certainly remember doing it. I then performed many, many times, both at the Mayfair and in October in the Covent Gardens and the Piazza, whilst most of the other Punch and Judy men were in the Punch and Judy pub. So I filled in whilst they all went and boozed it up. And then obviously when I was older, I joined them and didn't do so many shows. My other main recollection of me and my father going down to Covent Garden was the fact that we used to always go on the Saturday and stay with John Alexander and Joyce, his first wife, in their big Edwardian house in Hackney. And quite often we used to go to the Players Theatre at near Charing Cross Station. And although I was fairly young and certainly too young to drink, I used to get pissed with them all and have a thoroughly good time. So actually, generally on the Sunday of the Mayfair, I had a hangover. But I certainly do have fond memories of it and definitely do want to go again when it all starts off again, which of course it will. I will most certainly be there for the 50th one, if I'm still alive, hopefully. But yeah, Covent Garden's good, and I haven't got any puppets to show you because I've sent them all off to my dad to be repainted. Whilst we've got no shows to do, they've all been cancelled. But never mind, this will actually be the first summer in living memory that I have not worked practically every weekend. So in a way, I'm not bothered. But I know it's a shame for those that rely on the money. But we'll get through it, and it will be a massive resurgence, and everyone still loves it.
My fondest memory of the Mayfair is probably the parade. I love the parade. I get so excited when everybody is walking along and they've got their puppets on and all the noise. Also, I love to watch the shows. I really love to watch Punch and Judy. They make me laugh so much. I wonder if I could be in a Punch and Judy show one day.
Hello, I'm Scott Brooker, designer, puppet maker, and I'd just like to say big hello to all you professors, and hope to see you next year at Mayfest, because I need my Punch and Judy fix.
Well, for 350 years, Mr. Punch has been a presence in this country, and Mr. Punch has been a particular presence around the Covent Garden area, if Samuel Pepys is anything to go by, where he first saw Mr. Punch perform rather differently, as I think he was a string puppet. Yeah? Anyway, it's amazing to think that Punch has been such an important part of our national life. People can write him off as Punch and Judy at the seaside, something you take the kids to go and see. It's worth more than that. It's worth serious consideration. Punch is a political activist, a social commentator and a political commentator, and that is what puppets are good at. And Punch encapsulates the world of the puppet and the puppeteer as being something that is not just pretty pictures and little rabbits dancing to music and things. That is not what it's about. If Punch hadn't existed, we probably wouldn't have things like Spitting Image. Think about it. It's there may not be the technology in Punch and Judy, but certainly the satirical elements are there. It's a great pity that for the first time in 45 years, we're not going to have the Punch and Judy Festival at the Covent Garden Mayfair, but we can't, for circumstances well and truly beyond our control. It's very sad, but there we are. And he will be back again, I would imagine, next year or as soon as possible. And as soon as the restrictions are lifted, he'll be back on the beaches and back at fairs and everything like that, and just as subversive and just as naughty and just as full of that's the way to do it as ever. God bless Mr. Punch. We would all be poorer without him. And I, for one, admire enormously everything that he does and that he stands for. He's a very, very important British institution in the best possible sense.
Right, you now get 2 metres back, Mr. Punch. Bit of social distancing from you, you silly old man. Oh, that's the way to do it.
There is no one favourite thing for me. I love the atmosphere, I love the location, I love all the people that come and just enjoy the performances. I love helping all the Punch professors. It's just a great day out, and long may it continue. Thank you for all your work.
Hello, it's Samuel Pepys here. I just wanted to... Ah! Oh, this is so completely childish.
Hello, my name's Ian Tom. Some of you at the Mayfair certainly know me, but I don't normally turn up at the Mayfair like this. I generally am in hello, what are you... No, what are you... You heard it was about the Mayfair and you got excited. He likes the Mayfair. Actually, so do I. I like the Mayfair an awful lot. I've been going to the Mayfair for, I would say... What are you doing down there? I would say at least 20 years. And I go every year and I have a great time. I love it. It's my annual chance to meet up with all my Punch and Judy friends, and weather permitting, it can be a fantastic day. Even on a dull day, it's still good, but the weather really makes it special. Where else can you see such a wonderful mix of people and puppets? And despite people say, oh, well, Punch and Judy is all the same. Oh, gosh, it isn't. It really isn't. There's a basic storyline which a lot of people adhere to, but there's so much more to it than that. Oh, he's getting excited again. What, oh, I see. Right. Okay. That might be a clue. I'm normally there as Ginginat the Clown. So I'm going to say goodbye from now, and goodbye from him as well.
Oh, now, I can manage, Judy. I can manage. You don't need to help me. Can you remember the first question? Yes, I can. Now, we are speaking for Alex Booth, Professor Alex Booth, and we just want to tell you why the Mayfair is so important. Very good. I can manage. Thank you. It's important because all the profs come together and we have puppeteers from all around the world, and we all get a chance to chat to each other. At least the professors do. We just sit in the theatre until it's time for us to go. But we do get a chance to go into the church. And that is my very favourite part of the Mayfair. It's when we go into the church with the brass band playing, and the man on stilts ducking down under the door, and the little dog Tobies with their ruffs on running along over your feet. That's the bit that I really, really like. Right, and what's the other thing you've got to see? Oh yes, I know. I also like seeing the young profs coming along, and some of them are really amazing. Yeah, what's the matter? Mr. Punch, I keep trying to tell you, you're not using a schwozzle. Well, how on earth could I use a schwozzle if I'm going to say many thanks and congratulations to Maggie Pinhorn, who has run 45 Mayfairs, or would have done, and we want to give her all our very best thanks. Thank you, Maggie. Now, how could I say that through a schwozzle? I bet you could. Yes, I could, but Alex Booth can't, so that is the problem.
Hi everybody, Tony Druitt here, married to Pauline, 50 years this year. And of course my son Christopher, an avid performer of Punch and Judy. Why is the Mayfair so important to us? Well, it is extremely important to us because it is that one time of the year where we can get together and hear the shriek of Punch. It's thinking back all those generations since Samuel Pepys first saw the show there. So yeah, we've got to meet once a year. We're so isolated in our little shows, we never see anybody else. We're the cast of characters, so for us to meet up and meet all our other professors is a wonderful thing, and it'd be lovely if that tradition can be carried on. Nearly 50 years there, you see.
It is very important that we carry on this festival, as it is an opportunity for people to perform and meet with others who also perform Punch and Judy. It is also very important, as hopefully the youngsters will get the idea and carry on the tradition. my memories of the Punch and Judy Festival is the very, very first time I ever went to the festival. We went into the church and we had a wonderful service as the vicar blessed Mr. Punch. And it was so lovely. And we came outside and I put Mr. Punch on my hand and I joined the parade. And I thought we were just going to go round the block. But unfortunately, we went round and down streets I'd never known. And eventually, I reckon it was about an hour, but perhaps it's an exaggeration, we eventually arrived back and everybody was cheering and everybody was watching the Punch and Judy shows. And the public could go from one show to the other all day, and it was so lovely.
So we've got to look to the future, get out of this coronavirus, and make headway with Mr. Punch. And we all look forward to seeing everybody at the Mayfair next year.
And as Mr. Punch and I want to say, till we meet again.
Hi, I'm Dave Donut, and me and Mr. Punch are both extremely disappointed that this year's Mayfair will not be going ahead. Aren't we, Mr. Punch?
It will.
And it's a real shame because I've been coming to the event for several years now, both performing and just coming along to enjoy the day. My favourite parts of the day are the church service which goes on and the fantastic procession through the streets of London and around Covent Garden. And of course it's great to meet so many like-minded people who enjoy Punch and Judy and puppetry, meeting up with friends and of course making new ones as well. Watching the shows at Covent Garden is always wonderful because there's so many different variations of the traditional Punch and Judy show, and people come from all over the world performing their shows, which is absolutely wonderful. It's a massive event which Alternative Arts does a fantastic job in organising, and me and Mr. Punch will look forward to coming to the Mayfair next year when it's your birthday, and he'll be 359 years old. So roll on 2021. Isn't that right, Mr. Punch?
It's no way to do it.
They're not still banging on about Punch and Judy, are they?
It's also an opportunity. It's mainly Punch and Judy shows you'll find at the Mayfair, but it's also to celebrate the art of puppetry in general. So if you're shadow puppets, string marionettes, rod puppets, glove puppets, puppeteering in general across the board can all come together at this great day in May and celebrate the art of puppetry, and that's why I think it's an important day.
I can remember my fondest memory, of course, is of Percy Press Senior. Because I met his son late. I always said his son looked older than his father. But I met Percy Press Senior, and I knew him from the London Society of Magician days. But dear Percy, he was a wonderful man. And I remember meeting Fred Tickler at one of the Covent Garden festivals. And of course, dear Brian, I mean, I originally met Brian at Caister holiday camps when I was doing cabaret up there at Caister, and he was the children's entertainer there. And that was the first time we met, and we became really good friends after that. Did his warm-ups, one with a silver scepter and the elastic bloke. and the other one, I did a puppet routine with my Monty the monkey in a basket. And I've always said he had the most hilarious Punch and Judy I've ever seen.
Hello, Samuel Pepys here. I just wish to set the record straight. Back in 1662, Covent Garden was not quite the salubrious place that it is today. No. It was full of low lifes and ruffians, as I did mention in my diary at one point. But I just wish to dispel the rumour that, contrary to popular opinion, Professor Brian Clark was not, in fact, in the audience with me on that day.
Right, okay. Yes, well, I've been going to the Mayfair since it started all those years ago, and I went there with a chap called Guy Richardson. We didn't do Punch and Judy, we did a thing called Siege of Troy, which is like a big model theatre with exit, and it was great. Everybody kept asking us to do. And the next year I went there, and it was with the Punch and Judy, and I've been going ever since. I missed 1 year. Last year was a special year for me, being 80 years of age. They made me a cake, and all the Punch and Judy men brought all their punches that I'd made over the years. And I stood there with great pride, but also great sort of enjoyment, because I thought, I've made all that money. Isn't it lovely?
Right. Now look here, everybody. I don't think you're taking me seriously. I think I'm safe in here. I don't see any nasty candy cane hovering on the side. Yes, I'm fine. Now listen, as I was saying, you're not taking me seriously. If it wasn't for me, Samuel Pepys, writing in my diary, Mr. Punch wouldn't have a birthday at all. And without his birthday, you rotten lot, you wouldn't have a Covent Garden Mayfair. So I don't think you're giving me all the respect that I... What was that? Sure I heard something then. Now I said you're not giving me all the respect I think I... Something very strange going on here. I'm really not sure about this. Get down. That's better.
Hi, Maggie at Alternate Arts. I'm sending all my love to you. Thank you for all the hard work you do for us puppet people. Mwah.